Lift is a pretty good film. This was released in 2024. It's directed by F. Gary Gray, written by Daniel Kunka, with a cast including Kevin Hart and various others. And I was drawn to this for two reasons. I like Kevin Hart, and I like films set on airplanes. And the film itself it's a pretty decent concept. It's about people who want to do this heist. They want to steal this gold from this plane, but they have to do it mid-flight because they have to get another plane and do a switch. And I'm not describing it very well, but it's explained why it has to be done mid-flight, but obviously that's going to make it difficult. And that's what the film is about. And of course, I'm not going to say whether they do it or get away with it or anything, but the narrative is generally well written. There's nothing about the story that I didn't like. I will say it took me a while to really get into it. Basically, I didn't start really enjoying it until we got onto the plane, and then I really loved it. I'm not saying that it wasn't very good up until that point, and it did take us a little bit of time to get there, but for me, certainly, I enjoyed it more once the plane became more heavily involved. As I said, that's one of the reasons why I was drawn to this. So I have absolutely no issues with the narrative. The pacing could be a tiny bit better to begin with, but that might also just be down to personal preference and the fact that for whatever reason, I really like aeroplane-based films. I don't know what it is. I think it's because I like planes, but I'm also scared of planes, so it's an interesting mix. And in general, I have no real complaints about this. It is meant to be a comedy film. And I say meant to because I didn't find it that funny. Comedy is obviously subjective, so you might enjoy that part of it a lot more than I did. I'm not saying there were no amusing or light-hearted moments, but for me, it could have been absolutely not a comedy and I would have got the same experience out of it. I wasn't really watching it for the funniness. So it didn't really appeal to me as a comedy. But nevertheless, I still enjoyed the experience. We have some great camera work. I think when they're on the plane, they make a really great use of the space. I really enjoyed that part of it. I'd say the pacing of the second half is really brilliant. It really makes up for the slowness to begin with. The performances are really great. Obviously, Kevin Hart is fantastic. And in general, I don't really have any issues with it. I enjoyed it a lot. As a one-time watch, I thought it was pretty brilliant. I was emotionally invested. I was keen to see what would happen. And ultimately, I came away from it feeling pretty satisfied. So needless to say, if Lift sounds like a film that appeals to you, then of course I'm very happy to recommend it.